Some people don't love halfway. They don't care lightly. They don't attach casually. They don't open their heart without meaning it. When they love deeply, and often, they're the ones who get hurt the most. If you've ever felt this pain, this exhaustion of giving more than you receive, this quiet heartbreak of caring too much, this video is for you, because loving deeply is not a flaw. It's a psychological trait. And today we're going to understand why people who love deeply often suffer more, what it does to the mind, how it shapes relationships, and how to protect your heart without losing who you are. Welcome to Soul Shift Psychology. What it means to love deeply. Loving deeply doesn't mean being dramatic or emotional all the time. It means you feel intensely, you attach sincerely, you invest emotionally, you care fully when you love deeply. You don't play games. You listen carefully. You remember details. You feel responsible for emotional connection. You don't love to pass time. You love to build something real. And that depth is powerful. But it also makes you vulnerable. The psychology of emotional depth psychologically. People who love deeply are often highly empathetic, emotionally sensitive, self-reflective, emotionally intelligent. Their nervous system is tuned to emotion. They pick up subtle cues. They sense emotional shifts. They feel what others feel. This emotional openness allows for deep connection. But it also means emotional pain hits harder. Why deep lovers feel more pain? Pain is proportional to attachment. The more emotionally invested you are, the more your nervous system reacts to loss, rejection, or disappointment. For deep lovers, disconnection feels like abandonment, distance, feels personal, inconsistency, feels unsafe, not because they are weak, but because their emotional system is fully engaged. They don't numb themselves to love. So pain isn't filtered, it's felt fully. The myth of caring too much. People who love deeply are often told, you care too much, you're too sensitive, you're too sensitive. You need to toughen up. But caring deeply is not excess, it's intensity. And intensity is not the problem. The problem is loving deeply in environments that don't honor it. Why deep lovers attract emotionally unavailable people? One of the most painful patterns is this. People who love deeply often attract people who love shallowly. Why? Because emotional depth feels safe to emotionally unavailable people. You provide warmth, stability, understanding. They receive without fully giving back. Your empathy fills the gap they don't know how to fill themselves. But over time, this creates imbalance. You pour, they sip, and eventually, you feel empty. The hope that keeps you staying too long. Deep lovers don't leave easily. They see potential. They believe in growth. They remember good moments. They tell themselves, they're trying. They'll change. They just need time. This hope is beautiful. But when hope replaces boundaries, pain grows. Because love without reciprocity becomes self-neglect. Why you feel responsible for others' emotions? People who love deeply often take emotional responsibility for others. You feel guilty when someone is upset. You try to fix discomfort. You carry emotional weight that isn't yours. Psychologically, this often develops early in life. You learned that emotional harmony depended on you, so you became the emotional regulator. That pattern follows you into adult relationships. The fear of losing connection. Deep lovers fear emotional disconnection more than rejection. Rejection is clear. Disconnection is slow and confusing. When someone pulls away emotionally, your nervous system goes into alert mode. You overthink, you analyze, you try harder. Not because you're desperate, but because connection feels essential to safety. Why boundaries feel unnatural? Boundaries can feel like rejection to someone who loves deeply. Saying no feels like withholding love. Pulling back feels like abandonment. So you overextend, you forgive too quickly, you explain too much. You stay longer than you should, not because you lack strength, but because your heart is open. The internal conflict, self-respect versus attachment. Deep lovers often live in conflict. Part of you knows you deserve more. Another part fears losing connection, so you stay in situations that hurt you. This isn't weakness, it's attachment. The nervous system chooses connection over logic when it feels unsafe. Why breakups hit you harder? For deep lovers, breakups aren't just about losing a person. They're about losing shared meaning, emotional safety, future imagination, identity. You didn't just love the person, you love the bond. So grief is layered. And healing takes time. The shame around being too much. Many deep lovers carry shame. They feel like they're too intense, too emotional, too needy. So they shrink, they mute their needs, they suppress feelings, they pretend to care less. But suppressing depth doesn't make pain disappear. It turns inward. Why you feel lonely, even in relationships. Emotional loneliness hurts more than physical loneliness. Deep lovers crave emotional presence. Deep lovers crave emotional presence. When someone is physically there but emotionally distant, it feels empty. You feel unseen, and that hurts more than being alone. The gift you don't see despite the pain. Loving deeply is a gift. You feel connection fully. You experience intimacy deeply. You understand others profoundly. Your capacity for love is rare. The problem isn't your depth. It's where you place it. Learning to love deeply. Safely healing doesn't mean loving less. It means loving wisely. It means learning to ask, is this mutual? Is this consistent? Is this emotionally safe? Depth needs structure. Love needs boundaries. Boundaries do not kill love. Boundaries don't make you cold. They make love sustainable. Boundaries protect your emotional energy. They allow you to love without losing yourself. Choosing reciprocity over potential. Deep lovers fall in love with potential, but healing means choosing reality, not what someone could be, but who they consistently show you they are. Love grows where effort meets effort. Letting go without hardening your heart. You don't have to become distant or guarded to protect yourself. You don't need to stop feeling deeply. You need to stop abandoning yourself for connection. Self-attunement over self-sacrifice. Start asking, how do I feel in this connection? Do I feel safe expressing needs? Is my care being respected? Your feelings are information. Listen to them. The fear of being unlovable. Deep lovers often fear that if they stop giving, they won't be loved. But love that only exists when you overextend is not love, it's dependency. Real love remains even when boundaries exist. Healing the part that overgives. Healing involves comforting the part of you that learned love through giving. You don't shame it, you thank it, and then you teach it new rules. You don't have to earn love by suffering. The strength in your softness is not fragility. It's courage. To love deeply in a world that often loves shallowly takes strength. But strength also means protecting your heart. You are not too much. You were just loving in places that didn't know how to receive you. Your depth is not a burden. It's a gift for the right people. When love becomes self-abandonment, one of the hardest truths for people who love deeply is this. Sometimes, love slowly turns into self-abandonment. Not because you want it to, but because you were taught that love means endurance. You stay patient when you're hurting. You stay understanding when you're neglected. You stay loyal when your needs go unmet. You tell yourself that love requires sacrifice. And while love does require effort, it should never require the disappearance of yourself. When love consistently costs you peace, your nervous system begins to associate love with pain. This is why deep lovers often feel anxious in relationships. Not because they are insecure, but because their body remembers what it was like to give without safety. Healing means learning a new definition of love. Love is not losing yourself. Love is not proving your worth. Love is not enduring emotional starvation. Healthy love feels steady. It feels reciprocal. It feels safe enough to rest. You don't have to suffer to deserve connection. When love is real, you don't shrink to keep it. You expand. If you love deeply and have been hurt, it doesn't mean you should love less. It means you should love with awareness. Your heart doesn't need walls. It needs wisdom. This is soul shift psychology, where emotional depth becomes understanding, and self-respect walks alongside love. You don't need to change who you are. You need to protect who you are, because the right connection won't drain you. It will meet you deeply.